त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्यै। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Pranams everyone. We are in chapter 3, Sloka number 7. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yastvindriyāṇi manasā niyamya rabaterjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asktaḥ vishishyate. So here Bhagavan is concluding a short 3 slokas in which he mentioned about action, inaction and action, primarily about inaction. Now he is concluding that section by saying inaction is not possible, inaction is not an option for you, and therefore you perform Karma Yoga. And how does he say? He says, Yahtu indriyāṇi manasā. Yahtu indriyāṇi manasā niyamya arabate Arjuna. Yah tu, he who, niyamya indriyāṇi, one who, having restrained the organs of knowledge, indriyas means organs of knowledge, through what? Manasa, by the mind, arabate, pursues. What he pursues? Karma Yogam, Karmendriyai. Karma Yoga with the organs of action. Karmendriyai means with the organs of action. Saha, he, vishishyate, he excels. He excels how? Asktaḥ. Asktaḥ means without attachment. So, he pursues with the organs of action without attachment. O Arjuna. So how do we need to do this Karma Yoga? Bhagavan says, you first restrain your indriyas. You restrain your sense organs through the mind, by the mind. That is one interpretation we can say. You restrain your sense organs by the mind. The other interpretation we can say is, you restrain your sense organs along with the mind. Manasā, along with the mind. So you restrain both the sense organs and the mind. That is the second meaning that we can say. It's probably better. Restrain the sense organs plus the mind. Because mind is very important. Sometimes we say out of sight is out of mind. So, but out of mind is not out of sight. And not out of mind will still be a problem. Therefore, mind restraining the mind is equally important or more important than restraining the sense organs also. And what happens after that? What should be done after that? Arabate, pursue, start. And then follow Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga through Karmendriyai, through the organs of action. And he says, perform it without any attachment. Asktaḥ. Only if a person is unattached, that person can really start doing Karma Yoga. As long as we are attached to whatever we are doing or whatever the person, then it cannot be converted, that action cannot be converted into Karma Yoga. Saha vishishyate, Bhagavan says, he excels, he is superior. He is superior to who? He is superior even to a sannyasi. To a sannyasi who chooses sannyasa without getting any maturity. We talked about in the earlier Sloka number 6, where if somebody takes up sannyasa without actually getting the mental maturity, then he ends up as a hypocrite. So this person who pursues Karma Yoga, even within the Grihastha ashrama, he is more superior than a person who is taken up sannyasa but is not able to restrain his mind and his sense organs. So Bhagavan says, Saha Vishishyate, he excels. Sannyasa ashrama is a wonderful ashrama if we love Vedanta. If we are able to fully dedicate our life only to the pursuit of moksha, then sannyasa ashrama is a wonderful ashrama. That's the ashrama to be. But and there should be a liking for Vedanta, of course. But sannyasa ashrama will turn out to be a very bad option if a person does not love Vedanta or is not able to dedicate his entire life to the pursuit of moksha. So Bhagavan says, perform Karma Yoga. So from Sloka number 4 to 7, Bhagavan had answered Arjuna's question, saying, Arjuna, inaction is not an option. Remember what was Arjuna's question? Arjuna's question was, why are you asking me to do action? Should I not be taking up jnana? After all, that only gives me moksha. So Bhagavan says, inaction is not an option for you. Do perform Karma Yoga. But remember, actions can result in attachment because karma results in attachment, and therefore perform it with the attitude of Karma Yoga. So now Bhagavan says Karma Yoga, perform Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? How to do karma as Karma Yoga are the questions that will come up in our mind. So Bhagavan does not stop here. He continues to give Upadesha to Arjuna. Now he is in Sloka 8. He is talking about Karma Yoga. The next few slokas are very important, especially this sloka, Sloka number 8 onwards. These are very important slokas which explain about Karma Yoga. So we'll see. Sloka number 8. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayo hya karmanah Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyed akarmanah Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayo hya karmanah Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyed akarmanah. So from Sloka number 8 until Sloka number 14, Bhagavan is talking about Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? 8 to 14. Remember, Bhagavan had said, Akarma na sambhavati. Inaction is not possible. Bhagavan had proved that it is not possible. Inaction will not lead to Naishkarmyam. Even if somebody tries to be inactive at his body level, his mind will be craving and he will become a mithyachara. And it is not possible to give up all responsibilities and be inactive because it is not possible. So this Bhagavan has established. Now the option for us in the Laukika life, in our Grihastha ashrama, we will have to indulge in actions. We will have to indulge in karma. And what happens if we do karma? What does Shastra say? Shastra say, Karmana badhyate jantuhu. Karmana badhyate jantuhu means every jiva rasi, they get bound by actions. Every action that we take creates an attachment for us. So if we take up karma, it creates bondage. Remaining without doing any action is not an option at all. So Bhagavan is introducing something in between that is called as Karma Yoga. Whilst karma will create us bondage, Karma Yoga will help us to remove bondage. Just as how we use the mind to control the mind, in the same way, we are using karma to free ourselves from the bondage of karma. This is the main purpose of Karma Yoga. We had seen about Karma Yoga already in the second chapter briefly. In the second chapter, in Sloka number 47, we saw Karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palayeturbuhu mate sangosta karmani. In 247, we saw Karma Yoga, and then 248 also Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyakta dhananjaya siddhyo asiddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So these two slokas, Karma Yoga, has been summarized in the second chapter already. Now what we are doing here is, we will be seeing them in detail here. And Bhagavan gives this Gita teaching only from Vedas. The base for all these things are Vedas only. It is the same old teaching in a new form. That's what Bhagavan has given here. Because compared to the time of Vedas, when we take Vedas, the time for Gita is modern. And compared to the time of Gita, our time is modern. So we may change the example, but the concept remains the same. Shankaracharya, some of the examples we may change, or we may still reuse some of these examples, but the content of the teaching is from Vedas only. Now Vedas, if you remember the earlier introduction to Vedanta, we had said Vedas have got two parts, Veda Purva, Veda Anta. Now in the Veda Purva Bhaga, which is also known as the Karma Kanda section, the Veda Anta Bhaga is known as Jnana Kanda section. Now in the Karma Kanda section, Vedas have talked about lots of karmas. And then in the Upanishads, which is the Veda Anta portion, especially, there is a famous Ishavasya Upanishad mantra which says Kurvanneva karmani jiji vishechatam samaha evam tvayi nanyate tosti na karma lipyate nare. It says, should one wish to live 100 years on this earth, then he should live doing karma. So, while thus, as a man, as a human being, as you live, there is no other way other than this by which karma will not cling to you. Karma is inevitable. This is the mantra that Ishavasya Upanishad says. And then there is a Brihadaranyaka Upanishad which says, Tametam Vedanu Vachanam Brahmana Vividashanti Yajnena Dhanena Tapasana Ashakkinena. So this says that karma is inevitable. It is how to do Karma Yoga is also mentioned in these two Upanishads. In these two Upanishads, it says, it says how to actually convert karma into Karma Yoga. And the same thing is what Bhagavan is also talking about here. Now for us, what we will do is, we will take the topic into two parts. When we say Karma Yoga, we are talking about actions, and there is also the second part which is known as the attitude. The attitude by which we have to perform these actions. So we will split them into two, actions and attitude. Karma Yoga is basically action with a specific attitude. So now let us take actions. Actions means, first we have to understand what are the actions that can be performed what are the actions that cannot be performed. In other words, there is something called vidhi and nisheda. Vidhi means these are must be performed. Nisheda means these must not be performed. Or in other words, vidhi means do it this way. Nisheda means do not do it. So we all should know this difference. What we must do and what we must not do. And generally speaking, all of us know this to some extent. Even if we do certain things that are not supposed to be done, we do with the knowledge that yes, these are actions that must not be performed, and yet I do it, yet I perform it. So all of us have this basic understanding of what must be done, what must not be done. For example, Shastra says, Suram na pibet. Alcohol, do not drink alcohol. This has been said in Shastras. Everybody knows it probably. And everybody knows, and still people do drink. With the knowledge that this should not be done according to Shastras. So on the action part, we have some knowledge. What must be performed and what must not be performed. The second part of Karma Yoga, the attitude part, that is where we may not have clarity. What is the attitude? What is the bhavana that one must have when performing these actions? And when we talk about attitude, it is not about on the attitude that one must have on the actions that must not be performed. Like Suram na pibet, what should be my attitude? Attitude doesn't come into the picture there at all. The action itself must not be performed. So there is no question of having a particular attitude. I cannot say I will have a particular attitude as if I am actually dedicating it to Ishvara and then doing these actions. It's not possible. This attitude is only for applicable only for actions that can be performed. It is not applicable for actions, prohibited actions. What must not be done should not be done. Some people use this word Somaya, it is actually Somabhana. They try to give some colored meaning to it before doing these things. Shastras do not allow it, do not say that. There are some people who also do this, some people take the flower from the neighbors. Some people take the flowers from the neighbor's house without their knowledge, and they offer it to Bhagavan and believe that there is nothing wrong in it. That is not, absolutely not, it is not allowed. Some people believe that, I am not sure, but I have heard some people believe that a Vinayak idol or a Ganesh Murti, if it is stolen and kept for Chaturthi, we get blessed even more. This is wrong, it should not be done. If an action is prohibited, it is prohibited. There is no question of allowing it if it is done with a particular bhavana or I am doing it for the sake of Bhagavan or something like that. Entire Karma Yoga is about proper action, proper attitude. That is the essence of Karma Yoga. Now, let's look into the actions itself. Actions can come out of two reasons. There are two bases on which we perform actions. The first one is Raga Dvesha Janyam Karma. There are actions that originate due to our likes and dislikes. That is one. The second is Kartavya Buddhi Janyam Karma. Kartavya Buddhi Janyam Karma means actions that originate from our intellect. What sort of intellect? Kartavya Buddhi. Kartavya Buddhi means I know, my intellect says these are the actions that I must perform. And therefore, I am doing those actions. And this can be easily identified. All actions can be split into either of these two. we can say whether the actions have emanated out of my likes and dislikes or out of kartavya buddhi, or in other words we can also say duty. So actions can be either coming out because I can perform actions either because I have a like or dislike for that, or I have a duty, sense of duty. For example, if I have to wake up every morning, take shower, it's a kartavya buddhi janyam karma. I have to take care of the body. I have a duty towards the body to keep it clean, and therefore I wake up, take shower, and only then I will be able to go to work. And do I need to wake up also because I have to go to work, and therefore I have to wake up early, and therefore waking up is also an action, and that is also a kartavya buddhi janyam karma because I have a duty, I have to go to work, and therefore I wake up. Therefore, keeping our likes and dislikes aside, our intellect, the vijnanamaya kosha, it triggers these activities. These are activities when they say kartavya buddhi janyam karma. The intellect triggers these activities, keeping our likes and dislikes aside. So it's Monday morning, I don't feel like getting up, but I have to go to office, and therefore I wake up and I go because I have a duty, sense of duty. Whereas once we come to the weekend, there is no sense of duty there, so we don't want to get up, we wake up late because there is no kartavya buddhi there. There it starts with raga dvesha. My likes and dislikes come into the picture, whether I want to wake up or not. So it's just an example, simple example that I had given. But in everybody's life, our actions can be classified into either of these buckets, will fall into one of these two buckets. Whether it has come out of my likes and dislikes, or whether it has come out of my duties and responsibilities. Now, Shastras say, the actions that come out of my likes and dislikes, the actions, those must be reduced. I should reduce the number of actions or the actions that I do, perform, that are coming out of my likes and dislikes. I should slowly reduce them. And I should make sure I do all my duties and responsibilities. I perform all actions that are regarded as my duty or responsibility. Now, so likes and dislikes triggered activities, duties triggered activities. If we take the likes and dislike triggered activities, Shastra says it can be divided into three again. So actions that come out of likes and dislikes can be divided into three. Number one, Nishiddha karma. Nishiddha karma means actions that are prohibited by Shastras. We already saw this. We saw that some Nishedam or Nishiddha karma is the same. Not all actions that come out of our raga dvesha are Nishiddha karma. It's not that every action that come out of my likes and dislikes are prohibited actions. It's not like that. We like to eat good food, that is not considered as Nishiddha karma. So it's not Nishiddha karma. But many times what happens is, when we leave our actions according to our likes and dislikes, when we let the body and the mind follow our likes and dislikes, we will end up doing Nishiddha karmas. And not only that, we plan and do these things, knowing fully well that these are Nishiddha karmas. That is because our likes and dislikes take control of them. So that is one division among actions that are triggered out of likes and dislikes, Nishiddha karma. Nishiddha means what? Negated. Nishiddha means negation, negated. In other words, who has negated it? Vedas have negated it. The Karma Kanda of the Vedas have negated that, prescribed that these should not be done. So, Karma Yoga means what? The first step towards Karma Yoga is I stop doing these Nishiddha Karma. Even though I have a liking for these actions, I stop performing these actions. Not doing these actions because Shastras say these actions must not be done. That is the first step. That itself could be a big step for many. But so what we have to do is we have to slowly reduce them. Change overnight is not possible. So we will have to do it step by step. Now, if someone says, what are the prohibited actions? How do I know? How do I know what are the Nishiddha Karmas? What actions does Shastras prohibit? And when Shastras say certain actions, it does not say really irrelevant things. For example, Shastras will never say, don't eat fire. Or it will never say, don't drink poison. It will never say that because it is not possible. What Shastras will prohibit is, Shastras will prohibit only those actions that when left to our choice, we will end up doing them. Only those actions that are that is possible for us to actually get addicted to, attached to, or we end up performing, only those actions will be prohibited by Shastras. Shastras will never say do not do for an activity that we will never perform. Shastras will end up only, will say or will actually advise or will negate actions only those which otherwise we will end up performing because of our likes and dislikes. In other words, those actions that are prohibited by Shastras are those in which we have a natural inclination. Shastras will say, don't steal, do not steal. We may not do go and pickpocket anybody, we will not end up stealing from somebody's house or anything. But what we may end up doing is, we may want to take credit for somebody else's work. We may want to actually be appreciated for something that we have not done. These are also considered to be, or wherever we want to benefit without doing hard work or putting in the required effort, but we still want to get the benefit out of it, is considered stealing. So this Shastras say, don't steal. Shastras will say, don't drink. Because there could be a liking that could be in our swabhava. Shastra says, don't lie. Because we may end up saying lies because it will benefit us. It will help us materialistically. I say something, I try to please someone by saying a lie because I might get benefited in either my house or my in-laws place or at work or whatever it is. Or small little cheating here and there, I might get benefited materially, and therefore I will do lie. So Shastra says, do not lie. So Shastras will prohibit only those actions which we might end up doing if we leave it to our choice. That's the problem. Anything that is anartham, Shastras will not even mention. Meaningless things will not be mentioned. So when Shastra says these are prohibited, we should be careful and we should take the effort to avoid doing them. And how do we actually do it? How do we do that? What we have to do is, before a response comes from us, we will have to be a little more aware. We'll have to do a check on ourselves. Is this action kindled by my likes and dislikes? Is this action emanating out of my likes and dislikes? Check. Okay. It is coming out of my likes and dislikes. Okay. Is this action allowed by Shastras? Check. Yes or no. So that's how we have to do it. We'll have to do an awareness check. Remember, not every action that are coming out of my likes and dislikes are wrong. It's not that Shastra do not agree that anything that comes out of your likes and dislikes should not be performed. Nothing like that. But what Shastra says, if you let your likes and dislikes rule it, the chances of you performing a prohibited action is high. And that's why Shastra says our biggest enemy is not outside. Our biggest enemy is ourselves. Our own likes and dislikes are our biggest enemies. In fact, Bhagavan will call that out in the end of the 3rd chapter. There is a substantial section, specifically for likes and dislikes, especially desires, at the end of this chapter. So the first one is Nishiddha karma. This is one set of karma that comes out of likes and dislikes. The second karma that comes out of likes and dislikes is called as, the second one is called as Prayashchitta karma. Prayashchitta karma also comes from our likes and dislikes. What happens? Some problems come in our life. And why does some problems come in our life? Because of some wrongs that we had committed in our previous lives or in this life, whatever it is. And we are facing a consequence of that in this life. Any problem that we face is not given by anybody else. In Tamil we say Teedum Nandrum Pirathara Vara. The good and bad are not coming from anyone else. It comes out of our own actions in the past only. And what happens when we have this difficult situation or this problem in our life? We are afraid of facing that consequence. We are not ready to accept that. So what do we tend to do? We try to see if there is a way to avoid that consequence. So what do? We look for parihara, prayashchitta karma or parihara. We say, I don't want that custom. So we will take the horoscope, go to the astrologer, take the pariharam and see what can be done. So when we come to this Karma Yoga, what should be the attitude towards prayashchitta karma? Why? First of all, this karma or this problem has come out because of the lot of papas that we had done in our past lives. Some are known papas, some are unknown papas. In this life, previous lives. Because of which we are facing these problems. The sorrow in our life is also because of that only. For a Karma Yogi, the attitude should be that this sorrow, these problems are an opportunity for me to exhaust Papa Karma. These are an opportunity for me to get mental maturity, to get mental strength. Because whenever I hear especially harsh words within the family, within the friend circle, within the neighbor circle, within the relation circle, whatever, within the office circle, whenever we hear some harsh words spoken about us or spoken to us, we get angry, we get annoyed, we get terribly sorrowful. What we should do is, we should cultivate a mind that will become strong. The more harsh words that it is listening to, it is able to take it, it is able to strengthen itself. A person's mind, a strong mind is a necessary condition for moksha. And a person's mind becomes stronger depending on how much of pain and sorrow the person has undergone. If a person had a relatively nice life throughout, even a small little sorrow can create a huge depression in his mind. So the more pain and sorrow that we have been able to go through, the more stronger our mind will become. And it's not that we want you to, or Shastras do not want us to take up dukkham or sorrow. It says, don't go for it willingly, but whatever comes it, take it. That's what Shastras say. Remember, everybody will get dukkham. It's not that only we are the only one who are actually at the receiving end, the others are all having a nice life. Everybody is having a great life, only my life is a problem. That kind of attitude should never be there. Everybody will have problems, everybody will have sense of happiness also. However rich or poor, everybody will have dukkham and sukham. Dasaratha had everything in life. Remember, he was blessed to be a father of an avatara. And yet, he had to face dukkham. Dukkham is there for everybody. Even Rama had to face dukkham. Krishna had to face dukkham. Dukkham will be there in everybody's life. One cannot lead a life without facing sorrow. This is the truth. We have to understand. We can be highly educated. We could earn a lot. A person can be in a very high position also. But nobody can escape life without facing sorrow. So, now that the sorrow is there, if we do parihara for every dukkham, then it will never end. Every dukkham, if we start doing parihara, there are people who go to around Navagraha even for a small problem. So there will be never ending. And if we do parihara, there are two issues here. One, first of all, as I said, for every dukkham, if you start doing sorrow, it will never end, which means what? We will end up doing prayaschitta throughout our life. There is no way to come out of it. The second problem is, we are losing an opportunity to face the problem and make our mind strong. So when we lose this opportunity, what happens is, every dukkham we try to do this parihara, we will not be able to get a mind which is strong, which means what? Even when we face a small problem, our mind will immediately break down. So we will not be able to face that. So Shastras say, don't do prayaschitta karma as much as possible. That's what Shastras says. Remember, Nishiddha karma, do not do at all. Prayaschitta karma, don't do as much as possible. Don't do. It's not that it's wrong doing it. Remember, there is a difference between Nishiddha karma and Prayaschitta karma. Because Prayaschitta karma also, there is a punyam involved. Because what is Prayaschitam? We will be performing some punya. So Shastras do not say do not do. But Shastra says if you do, you lose an opportunity to spiritually grow. Accept them. Every sorrow that I face, I have to say, one papa gone. Swami Dayananda Saraswati used to say, even for one mosquito bite, he will not kill the mosquito. He will say, one papa gone. Even for one mosquito. Everything in this life does not happen out of accident. There are no accidents, there are no coincidences. Everything acts out of karma only. Karma alone runs this world. So, every sorrow, we have to say it, one papa gone. Use that as a mind purifier. There is one song, right? துன்பப்புடத்தில் இட்டு தூயவனாக்கி வைத்தாய். Some Sri Chakra Raja Simhasaneswari, that song, there it come. துன்பப்புடத்தில் இட்டு தூயவனாக்கி வைத்தாய். The sorrow will purify us. The more sorrow we face, we purify us. In fact, I would have mentioned this before, but I will mention this again. When after Mahabharata war, when Krishna had to take leave, Kunti, when she met Krishna, she said, Krishna, give me more sorrows. Give me more sorrows in life. And Krishna asked why. He said, only during sorrows I remember you. And I want to keep remembering you always. And therefore give me more sorrows. So, sorrows will make us spiritually progress. It will help us to understand that we are not in control of our life, that we think that we are running the show, I am making the calls, I am making the decision, I want to be the master of my life. We also need to realize that there is Bhagavan, and for us to remember Bhagavan also, these sorrows help. And also when we face sorrows, our mind gets stronger and purified. Now, having said that, does the prayaschitta karma really work? See, our prarabdha karma meaning whatever we are facing in current life, they can be divided into two. One is called as bala prarabdha and the other one is called as prabala prarabdha. So the lighter prarabdha karmas, which is the bala prarabdha, they could possibly be removed or avoided through these prayaschitta karmas. But there are some prabala prarabdha which cannot be eliminated at all. So in other words, prayaschitta karma cannot totally remove all our prarabdha karmas. It is not possible. Only some of them can be removed. But we will never get to know which of them has been removed and which cannot be removed. We do not know. So, and there is no guidebook to refer to and say for this action what is the prayaschitta karma, and if I do, will I get it? No, there is no such thing. And what is how does prayaschitta karma work? Prayaschitta karma work, the best analogy that can be given is, see, when there is a child who is sick but doesn't want to take a medicine, say because it's a big tablet, the child cannot swallow and it's bitter. So what we do, in those days at least, they powder the tablet, then they mix it with honey, and then they feed the child. So the tablet has to go in, but it doesn't go in its original form, it goes in some other form. So the same thing, what happens in the prayaschitta karma is, there is something else that we have to do to convert that into another karma. So for example, a person does dhanam to overcome, say he has a health problem, and then the astrologer says do this dhanam. So he performs this dhanam because he does not want to suffer. So what does he do? He is willing to part with his money but does not want to go through the suffering of the ailment. So he tries to donate, loses money to avoid losing health. This is a prayaschitta, one to compensate another. So it's not, as I said, it's not nishiddha. Prayaschitta karma is not wrong to do. There is nothing wrong. There will be no papa incurred also if we do prayaschitta karma. But nishiddha karma, papa will incur. We will incur papa. And generally, as I said, prayaschitta karma is generally a punya karma. If you do dhanam, or if you go to temple, perform abhisheka, you do something, it's all punya karmas only. Whatever we do is all punya karmas only. Prayaschitta karma is only punya karma. But still what happens is, you lose the opportunity to go through the pain or sorrow and to strengthen your mind. And what happens is by keep doing prayaschitta karma, the mind will get weaker and weaker also. So the next moment something else comes it, or even if you do a prayaschitta karma, we are not able to overcome that problem, the mind is not able to take it. So Shastra's advice is reduce prayaschitta karma slowly, then completely stop doing prayaschitta karma. This is the attitude that a karma yogi should have with regards to prayaschitta karma. Remember what we are discussing? We are discussing the actions that come out of likes and dislikes. Within this, we can split those actions into three. One is nishita karma, the second one is prayaschitta karma. Now the third one is kamya karma. Kamya karma means these are actions that are done for the sake of comfort, for our own comfort we do, or for our enjoyment. For example, we go to a cinema to watch a movie. Is that a prayaschitta karma? No. Is there a papa to watch movie? No. Depends on the movie though. So this is kamya karma. We go to various restaurants, we eat different delicacies. Is this prayaschitta karma? No. Is it nishita karma? No. These are all considered as kamya karmas. Kamya karmas means whatever we do it for our pleasure, for our enjoyment. Here what does Shastra say? Shastra says the attitude of karma yogi should be that at the beginning level, at the beginner level of karma yoga, when we have just started on our spiritual progress on karma yoga, keep performing kamya karma. Don't stop it suddenly. Don't stop it suddenly. The person will not have the strength or willpower to stop them. So Shastra say, keep doing kamya karma, but keep reducing them slowly. But as you do the karma yoga part, the attitude that we are going to discuss later, and the actions that are emanating out of duties and responsibilities, once we discuss them, we will see there are other things, aspects of karma yoga that once we start doing those, it will be such that this kamya karma will slowly and automatically leave us. We will stop doing them slowly. We need not do it, we need not take any specific action on our side. It will automatically leave us if we take care of the other aspects of karma yoga. So as a beginner, you can perform kamya karma as long as the desires are normal, noble, and are not selfish, as in not harmful. Then Vedas or Shastras do not stop us from enjoyment. Just don't accelerate, don't overdo that. Don't try to do too much of kamya karma. That's what Shastras say. Because if we try to, and don't try to stop it immediately also. Tomorrow onwards I have decided, I have started taking up karma yoga, and therefore I will not do anything kamya karma at all. If we start doing it, we will end up as what? Mityachara, hypocrite. Our physically we will try to reduce, but our mental craving will be there, and we will be as a hypocrite. We will try to do it without anybody's knowledge. So it is okay to do kamya karma. Because some people say, you are going for the Gita class, but you are still watching a movie, you are still going to a restaurant and eating. Shastras do not say stop bhoga, stop your enjoyment, stop pleasure. Is a desire, it's okay. It's no reason to feel unhappy about it or feel bad about it. Only thing we have to ask ourselves is it nishiddha? Is it something prohibited? Then of course not. Is it wrong to eat laddu or jalebi or have a liking for rasagulla? Is it wrong? No. Shastra says There's no problem. You can eat them. You can very well buy them, eat them, make them, eat them, listen to music, eat good food, nothing. No stopping. There is nothing wrong. So some people have this feeling that once you come to Gita class, you have to stop all these things. There is no such thing. But remember, Shastra will slowly corner us. In the sense, what will happen is, if we take the other aspects of Karma Yoga into our lifestyle, then slowly this Kamya Karma will automatically leave us. There are certain things that we will have to leave, and there are certain things that they will leave us. So we have to be aware of it. In life, whoever we come across, whatever we come across, will leave us one day. Only thing, either we leave them or they will leave us. But it will happen. Same thing with regards to the Kamya Karma also. Shastras a person who enjoys his life is known as a bhogi. Bhogi. What Shastras will do is, as we do this Karma Yoga, it will convert us slowly from a bhogi to a yogi. So initially, as long as the desires are legitimate, moral, ethical, Shastras allow them. Do not have any problem in fulfilling those desires. But what will happen though is, slowly as we grow up the spiritual ladder, slowly, gradually, our desires itself will reduce. And therefore, the actions that emanate out of these desires will also automatically leave us. And there are some desires, as I said, we cannot let go of the desires. Only if the desire feels, it will let us go. There are certain kinds of desires like that. The desires, we would have caught on to the desires so much that we will not be able to leave it. But one day the desire will let us go. And how does the desire let us go? As we do these dharmic actions, as we do more and more dharmic actions, the desire will let go of us. There is, right now, only recently we had this Zavani Avatam. There we will say, Kamo Karshit, Manyura Karshit, Namo Namah. We will say that I did not do all these things, all the sins. Kama, the desire did this. Manyu, the anger did this. I am not responsible for these things. So, the desire will let go of us. So, Raga Desha Janya Karma and then Kartavya Buddhi Janyam Karma, actions can be divided into two. Within this Raga Dvesha Janyam Karma, we saw three: Nishiddha Karma, Prayashchitta Karma, Kamya Karma. Nishiddha Karma should be avoided. Prayashchitta Karma should be reduced. Why should it be reduced? Because we should use the pain and sorrow for our spiritual growth and for strengthening our mind as far as possible. Kamya Karma, okay at the beginning. So this is what Ragadvesha Janyam Karma is concerned. Now we have this Kartavya Buddhi Janyam Karma. So these are actions that arise out of our intellect, basically to say that these are your duties and responsibilities. These actions are performed in spite of our likes and dislikes, overcoming our likes and dislikes. There are certain things that we must do, we do. For example, a mother wakes up early in the morning to make a breakfast and lunch for the children who are going to school. Although her body might say and her mind might say, I want to sleep, but yet she wakes up and does it out of her duty and responsibility. If the body and the intellect mind also says wake up at 4 a.m., then it's fine. Then there's no problem. The problem also is there are certain actions, or rather there are certain things where there is a contradiction, as in my duties and responsibilities come in the way of my likes and dislikes. and if my duties and responsibilities take precedence and I do them, that is called as kartavya buddhi janyam karma. We force ourselves to do that action, that is called as kartavya buddhi janyam karma. And Bhagavan starts in this sloka, niyatam kuru karmatvam. Niyatam karma means obligatory action. Niyatam karma, or other words, kartavya buddhi janyam karma. These are actions that arise in the intellect as must be performed actions. Kartavya buddhi janyam karma. In other words, niyatam karma, obligatory actions. What does Bhagavan says? Tvam kuru, you should do, you must perform. Bhagavan gives an order here. He says you must perform obligatory actions. And we saw that Raga Desha Janyam Karma has got 3 subdivisions or 3 types of actions. Nishita Karma, Prayashrita Karma and Kamya Karma. For the Kartavya Buddhi Janyam Karma, that can be divided into 2. Nitya Karma, Naimittika Karma. Nitya Karma means, Nitya means compulsory, mandatory duties. Nitya means not daily. Nityam here means compulsory, mandatory duties. Naimittika means, these are also compulsory duties that arise due to a situation. Due to a situation, a duty arises. So for example, a birth or a death happens. Then there are certain actions that a person must perform. Those are not compulsory daily duties, regular duties. These are all duties that come out of a particular situation. So they are called as Naimittika karmas. So in our sampradaya, in our culture, various actions are prescribed. Whether we like it or not, we must perform these actions. And generally speaking, our raga dvesha is such that it is against performing those actions, karmas. Our mind will say, why not skip it? Why should I do it? Why must I do it? Why can't I skip it? Bhagavan says, no, you don't have an option. Tvam kuru, perform it, do it, without bringing your likes and dislikes into it. In other words, Bhagavan says, niyatam kuru karmatvam. In other words, tvam kuru niyatam karma. You must perform obligatory actions. So this Karma Yoga is about action and attitude. We have talked about action. We will talk about attitude in the next class. Any questions or comments? Not? Then we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.